We knew its factions, its history, its power structures, its secrets, and the kind of stories that emerge from them. That foundation allowed us to spend less time defining the world and more time creating meaningful choices within it. That quote from Flyos Games co-founder and creative director Gary Paitre. Flyos being the studio behind the upcoming Vampire the Masquerade CRPG, Eternal Whispers. I'm Drew Adams with Ghost Mountain Monster, and let's get after it. Of all the games to come out of Summer Games Fest, I think Eternal Whispers is the one that's captured my attention the most. We've never really had a home run Vampire the Masquerade game. Bloodlines obviously being the high watermark that we all know and love, but even it was kind of a mess, and when we play it now, especially new players, they're playing it with the benefit of an unofficial patch, which has really smoothed over a lot of the issues that game's had over the years. So I saw Eternal Whispers and I thought to myself, hey, this is, already looking really good. And of course, it's obvious to anyone looking that it's taking some inspiration from Disco Elysium. I saw it and I thought, that's a really cool, really unique direction to take a Vampire the Masquerade game. The comparison feels so obvious that every single article I was able to find about the game before I started writing my first article about it referred to it as a disco-like, referred to it as a Disco Elysium successor, put it into the same category as the dozens of Disco Elysium successors that seems to be, popping up. And so it got me thinking. I was like, how do they see this? How do they view this comparison? So I reached out to Flyos Games and actually received a response from Gary Paitre, co-founder and creative director, as I said earlier. And they were actually super cool because the first email I gave them didn't work. And they took the time to reach out onto the comment section of our website, which was very kind of him. So I sent him a couple of questions just real quick and got some really good responses back. And I just want to take a second to kind of summarize those responses, get a couple pull quotes. The full text will be available on our website. Again, that's ghostmountain.monster. Link in the description. So I'll read the first question I had here. Several observers, including myself, have noted a similarity to the visual language and premise of Eternal Whispers to Disco Elysium, with many going so far as labeling it a disco-like. What does that comparison mean to your team, and would you consider it accurate? Gary opens with saying, being compared to Disco Elysium is both a privilege and an honor. It's a masterpiece that has inspired countless narrative designers, and we're certainly among them. And then he goes on to elaborate. That said, while there are still similarities on the surface, I think the comparison only goes so far. Disco Elysium is fundamentally a story about a broken man confronting his own trauma, identity, and past. Eternal Whispers takes a different approach. Our focus is less on internal psychological reconstruction and more on the external forces that shape who we become: ideology, faith, loyalty, power, and the societies we choose to belong to. As a vampire awakening after decades of torpor, the protagonist is drawn into a conspiracy that threatens the future of Montreal's undead community. Rather than asking, who am I, the game increasingly asks, what am I willing to become? I love that. That's exactly the energy that I want someone making a Vampire the Masquerade game to have. For context of my next question, Flyos makes the Vampire the Masquerade spin-off game Chapters, which is a kind of a cross between a traditional tabletop game, a 90-minute kind of session deal, and a tabletop RPG. I believe it's supposed to capture the experience of a tabletop RPG, but in a more manageable setting for people who maybe aren't, down for a 3 to 4 hour RPG session. I cannot relate to that sentiment. I am always down for a 3 to 4 hour RPG session. And as a result, I have not played Chapters just yet. I plan to in the near future. So, but I've seen people who were familiar with the work kind of asking the question, is Eternal Whispers an adaptation of the Chapters game, an adaptation of those stories? Is this, what we're seeing a little more of, which is tabletop manufacturers and designers porting their games essentially to PC and mobile? And he takes some time to address that question here. He says, while our previous World of Darkness board games gave us years of experience working with the IP, Eternal Whispers was never conceived as a direct adaptation of Chapters. From the very beginning, we envisioned it as a CRPG. The tabletop game served as more of an exploration ground where we could develop Montreal, experiment with factions, politics, themes, and better understand how players engage with the narrative and mechanics. When development on Eternal Whispers began, we went back to the drawing board. We selected some of the strongest narrative foundations we'd built over the years, but every system was redesigned specifically for a video game experience. No dialogue is being copied from one project to another. Each line is unique. We wanted Eternal Whispers to stand on its own while still feeling deeply connected to the universe we'd been building. So what I take from that answer, and he goes on to elaborate a little more on that, but from what I take from the answer in general, and what really kind of is exciting to me, is they know this world. They have developed a product in this world. Flyos is home quartered in Montreal, so they're building this story in a city they know, in a setting that they know, that they've successfully shipped a product in. And so all of the concerns that I would typically have about a studio coming in, is like, are they going to get the tone right? Are they going to get the feeling right? I don't have that here because they've already done it. They've done it. Like I said, I haven't played chapters myself, but I've read reviews. I've talked to people who have played it. People think they got that right. Referring back to my question about Disco Elysium, one of his answers, what we do share with Disco Elysium is a commitment to meaningful narrative choice. Vampire the Masquerade is at its core a setting about temptation and monstrosity, and we want players to have the freedom to embrace that darkness, resist it, or find something in between. That's super important to this setting. That's something important to these games, is you have to be able to confront the reality that Vampire the Masquerade is a game that doesn't deal in shades of gray. I've always said it deals in shades of black. No matter what, you are the villain. You can't help it. That's built into it. And I think a lot of commercial attempts at adapting Vampire the Masquerade have filed the edges off of the monstrosity of being a vampire, of being a predator. And it sounds like they get it. They're leaning into that. That sounds really promising. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I really think this could be the successor to Bloodlines we were hoping Bloodlines 2 would be. Obviously, it's going to look different. It's going to play a little different. But what you are going to get, you're going to get a character create yourself, skills you pick yourself, choice-driven narrative, all things that I would have wanted in a Bloodlines sequel that Bloodlines 2 was lacking. And I really enjoyed Bloodlines 2, but it did not have a whole lot in common with the legacy of the first Bloodlines. That's just a fact. So I'll wrap up here saying I'm excited. I really appreciate Flyos taking the time to respond to me. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this the second coming of Cain? Are we there? This was Drew with Ghost Mountain Monster. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you down the road.